The slow cooker is the solution to keeping your kitchen cool in the summertime. I've got 5 easy slow cooker meals that are perfect for summertime. No chili, no pot roast, nothing like that. You're gonna love these. Starting out with some barbecue because every summer needs barbecue. So I have the easiest 3-ingredient pulled pork you're gonna make. When it comes to the slow cooker, you wanna cook tough meats that will thrive in a low and slow environment. I'm using a bone-in pork shoulder because I love the flavor that it gives. Next goes a whole bottle of barbecue sauce and a bottle of root beer. You're gonna have that like sweet kind of warm spice from the root beer and then the tangy kick from the barbecue sauce. I chose a barbecue sauce that's not too sweet since the root beer is gonna be sweet. When we do pulled pork on a smoker or something, we usually keep an aluminum pan that has like Coca-Cola on the bottom, but the root beer is just like a new little twist on that. So go hang out on the boat all day and this will be ready when you come back in. Oh yeah, I mean, look at this. The bone already popping out. You know this is gonna be so tender. I can't even move it without it falling apart. So you know what that means? It's gonna melt in your mouth. You can't not do this. Good. I'm gonna shred it up, get it to all soak up that sauce and serve it up. What I would really do is kind of skim off the fat first and then toss the meat back in. For time's sake, I'll do that part later. We still have 4 more to go. You want to put it back in the sauce, because that's the good stuff. That's the liquid gold. Grab whatever sides you want from the deli or have your friends bring them to the potluck. You did the main thing and you didn't have to stand over a hot smoker all day, nor did you have to heat up your kitchen. Then I gotta add pickles. Spoon over a little more juice. Barbecue sandwiches. That was a 3-ingredient recipe. Oh, this is gonna be good. I'm telling you, the sauce is what makes it, so you're gonna wanna serve this with a cup on the side. 1 down, 4 to go. This next one to me is the perfect meal to bring if you're at the beach. Slow cooker jambalaya. This one's gonna have chicken and sausage, and then you're gonna go to the seafood market while you're down there and get some fresh shrimp and add it in at the end. I never thought I'd be the person that brings the slow cooker to the beach. If your rental does not have one, bring it because it is the perfect thing. You can get going in the morning, go out to the beach all day and you come in. Because we love to cook at the beach. We don't always love to go out. It's too expensive, but mainly because the crowds are just too much. The reason why the crock pot is so good in the summertime is because it gets hot. When you've got your oven and stove on all day, it's just too much. So the slow cooker doesn't put out any heat in your kitchen. This is not a authentic jambalaya, I do realize that, but it happens to be one of the All Recipes, top-rated recipes, and this is the one I'm using today. It gives you the jambalaya experience without standing over the stove. So it does start with the Holy Trinity, which is onions, bell pepper, and celery. I will say this recipe does not call for the rice to be cooked in with it. That can get finicky and the rice can get a little like gummy and sticky. So the recipe suggests just to serve it over rice, but I have a little trick up my sleeve to pull in at the end. I like to include the leaves if they're on your celery stalks. So that's where all the really good celery flavor is. If you are looking, however, for the perfect jambalaya recipe, that would be mine, available at allrecipes.com. That's when I got my really fancy pot and I made the best jambalaya I've ever made. Also adding in garlic, which is not in the recipe, but it is always in my Cajun cooking. I now love having a slow cooker on vacation too, because it really works for breakfast too. We do like these big batch breakfast burritos that you can actually start the night before and then you wake up to perfectly cooked sausage egg. Goodness. Besides a little chopping, that's all the prep you have to do. You don't have to pre-cook any of the meats or anything like that. Everything now is just getting dumped right into the slow cooker. Recipe calls for boneless, skinless chicken breast. I'm gonna use that this time. Normally I would probably just put in the thighs, which you could totally do. Will be a little cheaper. And andouille sausage. The sausage is gonna really give it that authentic kind of Cajun flavor. Recipe calls for diced tomatoes also. I like the flavor that this gives, especially that we're adding shrimp too. That's when I, sometimes use tomato, but typically you don't really put tomatoes in jambalaya. And because I like to make recipes my own, sometimes I'm adding in a little fresh thyme instead of dried because I love this flavor. Cajun seasoning, whatever kind you like. A little pinch of oregano too. I think you get enough heat from the Cajun seasoning, so I'm gonna cut back on the cayenne a little bit. And then chicken stock, about a cup. Give this a stir, and then it goes low and slow for about 6 to 8 hours, or high for 3 to 4 hours. And everything's gonna release a lot more liquid, so it doesn't look like a lot of liquid at this point, but it'll get there. All right, here we go. This jambalaya is smelling heavenly. Smells like summer down on the bayou. We are now going to add in that shrimp and some rice. Now for the rice, I'm gonna do these like pre-cooked packets because they're mostly cooked. These two things will be done about the same time. And then you've got your rice that has kind of absorbed some of that juice because that's what we want. I don't wanna just put it over plain white rice. You know what I mean? All right, lid back on. I'm keeping it on high for just about 15 minutes. While I know this is not traditional, it still looks daggum delicious right here. It smells even better. Shrimp are cooked perfectly. I'm gonna top it with some green onion, maybe a little hot sauce. 10 out of 10 on that flavor. This is delicious. That chicken, it's so tender, not one bit dried out. Sausage gives us so much flavor. Shrimp, because we're at the beach. This is a genius move on your next vacation. Now, you know I can't give you a week's worth of slow cooker meals without including one for Taco Tuesday. So this is slow cooker cilantro lime chicken tacos. This one calls for chicken thighs, and to me, that's the perfect chicken to cook in the crock pot. It's harder to mess up and dry out. You don't get that like stringy kind of dry chicken. It's fine in the jambalaya because we have like a lot of other things going on, but when chicken's the main thing, just choose the thighs. Not only are they gonna taste better, but you're gonna save some money. This is also good for meal prep. Meal starts with like 3 pounds of chicken. Cook it once, eat it twice. Even if you have leftover, it freezes great after it's cooked. But if you're not doing it just for tacos like I'm doing, then you can also just make like burrito bowls out of it or put it in like some chicken enchiladas or casserole. All right, straight into the crock pot. Because we're on vacation and we don't have all our spices, we bring out the packet, or you could just put in your own stuff. Taco seasoning in, and also a jar of salsa. Cilantro lime chicken, so I'm adding cilantro and lime. I'm adding in probably this whole bunch, and then the lime. And that's a wrap. Chicken thighs are also safer to go longer than chicken breasts, so if you are going to work, don't put chicken breasts in there. Like, they will be rubber when you get home. Cilantro lime tacos, anyone? It smells so good. Chicken's ready. It just falls apart. See, that's what you want, not dried out chicken. So this recipe makes a lot. Like I said, it's perfect for meal prep. I'm gonna show you 2 ways I like to serve it up on a Taco Tuesday. This is also good to put out for a party too, because the chicken can just stay warm in the crock pot and the guests can serve themselves, and you can just set up a little taco bar. Look at this. See how good this looks? And what's the key here? Let's see if you remember, kids. Chicken thighs. All right, here are my 2 favorite ways to serve it up. Tostada. I love a tostada shell. They just stay so crunchy. I like a little refried bean on the bottom, followed by that delicious chicken. I could literally eat this every day. Little cheese, cilantro, pico. You get the idea. I like a tostada, something crunchy, and one on a soft shell. So that's what I'm gonna do. Extra lettuce on my tacos. That's the way we like them. Let me just taste it and make sure it's not poisonous. Oh, good. Chicken's delicious. I know there are a million recipes out there for like salsa chicken, but this is the one you need to make. So good. This next one is the hearty meal you want to make when you have a lot of mouths to feed or just really hungry mouths to feed. This is the crock pot cowboy casserole. This might be the one you want to serve on a Sunday. Put it in the morning, have it as an early supper. You do have to do a little bit of prep on the stove just to brown the ground beef. Then it's just a dump stir situation. So I'm cutting 1 small onion and I'm gonna brown that up. You're just gonna brown your ground beef and onion, and then I'm gonna season it up with a little salt and pepper, some chili powder, a little cumin, and some garlic powder. You know, whenever you hear something cowboy, you think of like those kind of smoky flavors with maybe a little kick. And so I'm also gonna deglaze all of this with some fire roasted tomatoes to resemble the campfire. The tomato will just lift the flavor off the bottom of the pan, and I like to rinse out the can with just like a 1/4 cup of water because there's a lot of flavor left in the bottom right there. See, that's how you clean your skillet. Good as new. Another addition to this casserole that's like typical in all are beans and potatoes, because that's gonna really fill you up, be hearty. So I'm adding in a can of baked beans and a can of kidney beans. I'm gonna add it to this beef mixture so I can layer it in the crock pot. Promised you no chili. This is not chili. Might look like it now, but it's not. Okay, so I'm gonna put half of this mixture down into the crock pot. And then I'm going in with some potato. Grab you a couple small potatoes or one big one. I've already washed it. I'm gonna leave the peel on. Keep this really rustic. I'm gonna cut it in half and then just make really thin slices and then just kind of layer them in between. So it's like we really stretched 1 pound of ground beef to like a super hearty meal. The other ingredients are really affordable. And you could also do this with ground turkey to make it even cheaper. Truthfully, you don't have to layer it. I just think it's gonna be good like this. I'm also gonna layer in slices of jalapeno. Give it a kick. And to this layer, a can of cream of onion. You could also do cream of chicken or cream of mushroom. Just kind of adds another little texture to our casserole. Spread it out over the potatoes and then top it with the remaining beef and bean mixture. And that's it. I'm going to cover this, cook it on high for about 3 or 4 hours, or low for 6 to 7 hours. But right before it's done, I'm gonna top it with a little bit of cheese. All right, this is almost done. For the final step, I'm gonna top it with cheese and let it go until it all melts. The weather might be hot outside, but we can all still use a warm hug, and this is that. That just looks so good. Even though this is cowboy casserole, I feel inclined to top it like I would my chili or like a loaded baked potato. A little sour cream, a little cilantro. You could also do some green onion here to keep up with the cowboy theme. How about some chopped jalapeno? That's just stupid, it's so good. We might have topped everything. It's everything that you do love in a loaded baked potato, but it's like creamy. That little creamy surprise in the middle is like what's tying this all together and giving you that warm, tight hug. And for my final trick, this one is no surprise, but have you made it in a while? Crock pot buffalo chicken sandwiches. So it starts out just like how we make buffalo chicken dip, but you can set it and forget it. And when you come back inside or home from work, just shred it up, serve it up on rolls, add a little ranch dressing, and call it a day. So straight into the crock pot with your chicken, packet of ranch seasoning, and a good bit of wing sauce. A whole bottle, but this is a big bottle, so not quite this whole bottle. Then let it go. All right, chicken is cooked. These are chicken breasts, so they definitely don't take as long. To me, this is your perfect Friday night meal. You know, it's indulgent, but instead of going out to the sports bar or something, do it right at home. Let's not forget that it took about 25 seconds to prepare this. I'm turning this into buffalo chicken sandwiches. This meal, however, for dinner, you could do the lettuce wraps if you want to keep something like light for dinner, or tacos, or turn it into a dip. But we're here for dinner, right? So I'm doing buffalo chicken sandwiches because I feel like it's a Friday thing. So I'm putting a little ranch down because my kids love ranch with their buffalo. And then down with our chicken. And now you could put on some cheddar cheese. I'm gonna do a little blue cheese because to me that's just the perfect pairing. Some crumbles. And I like crunchy lettuce on my sandwiches, so it's kind of like instead of the celery with your buffalo wings. Buffalo chicken sandwiches for dinner. This is like 12 out of 10. It's a whole different way to buffalo chicken. You know, it's not the fried, dipped in the buffalo sauce. It still somewhat feels light, but packed with flavor. I love a kick. The crunchy lettuce on top, pro move. That's delicious. We went out with a bang.